Your school fees is covered. Your accommodation where you live is covered. Your insurance, your health insurance is covered. Also, each month they give you an amount of 2,500. You are paid to study in China. They literally pay you to study. Hola, Karibu. If it's your first time here, my name is Agus. Welcome to my channel and kindly join the family by subscribing. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for tuning in. And so in today's video, I'll be telling you how to study abroad for free. This video is going to be long because I'm going to explain a lot, so kindly bear with me. So if it's your first time here, I'm a Cameroonian studying in China. So the information I'm giving you today is legit. You don't have to doubt it. So I actually wrote everything I have to say. I wrote them down so that I won't forget anything. And in today's video, I'll be focusing on the different scholarships which are available in China and which you can have access to. So before applying for a scholarship or even applying for school anywhere out of your country, you should need your passport, an email, and also a phone number. Okay, so I guess you have all that ready if you want to apply to study in another country. Okay, so let's just begin. First of all, right now foreigners can't enter China because the corona is still ongoing in China, and only Chinese can just go and come in the country. But recently schools have asked, like, former students who went back to their countries during the corona period, they were asked to come back. So I think very soon, maybe in a year or two, people can start entering China like before. Okay, so let's begin. In today's video, we'll be talking about I think 5 different scholarships, the common ones most people can have access to. We'll be talking about the CSC scholarship, which is also known as the government scholarship. Is sponsored by the government. Number 2, we have the Confucius scholarship. Is also sponsored by the Confucius Institute, and I think it's also the government sponsoring. We also have the Silk Road scholarship, Presidential scholarship, and Provincial scholarship. So those are the most common scholarships here in China. And okay, we'll get down to the requirements you need to apply for any scholarship or to even apply to study in any Chinese university before we get into the different scholarships, their structure, and everything required. So if you want to study in China, the first thing is that you need to be a non-Chinese citizen. To benefit from the scholarships, you need to be a non-Chinese citizen. Yeah, if you're not Chinese, you are eligible to apply for a scholarship in China. That's the first thing. The next thing is that you have to be in good health. When applying for a scholarship in China or to school, just know you need to be in good health. Before applying, you need to do a physical examination, and the physical examination is done in a hospital where there are Chinese doctors. Your physical examination should include certain tests for HIV/AIDS, hepatitis, yellow fever. What else? Like, they'll check your heart. I think it's called ECG, something like that. Like, they'll check your heartbeat or is your pressure. They check your eyes, and yeah, something like that. But if in your country there's like a hospital where Chinese work there, you just tell them that you want to do a physical examination because you're applying to go to China, so they know the test they'll be doing on you. And if you're in Cameroon, the test, that time I did the test for about 55,000, approximately that amount. I don't know, 55,000 in dollars. I don't know how much it is in dollars. And also you should know that you cannot fraud your physical examination, because when you get to China, you'd have to do it again. So don't even try to fraud your physical examination, because you'll just be wasting your time and your plane ticket. And also you should have no criminal records. So you have to get a proof of you having no criminal records. There is an age limit or an age range when you're applying for maybe bachelor's, master's, or doctors or doctorate, whatever. So for bachelor's, I think is 30 and below, if I remember correctly. Then for master's is 35 and below, and for doctorate is 40 and below. To apply, you need to be below those different ages. And personally, I would not advise anyone to do bachelor's in China, except if your bachelor's will be in English or your major will be Chinese, which is an easy major. If you're doing something professional like computer science, medicine, and you're doing it in Chinese, I'll advise you to do your bachelor's in your country before applying for master's in China. And also applying for a master's or a doctorate scholarship is easier. It's easier to get than a bachelor's. So my advice for you. And also there is language proficiency qualification. So if you're applying for if you're applying to study in Chinese, you need HSK. HSK is 汉语水平考试. That is like TOEFL for English. So it actually tests your Chinese level, your Mandarin level. So you need to have HSK before applying. And if you don't have HSK, like if you've never been to China or you've never studied Chinese at the Confucius Institute or anywhere, so if you don't have an HSK, the government, if you're on a government scholarship, they will give you a year to study the language before you start your bachelor's or your master's, whatever it may be. So the language qualifications are HSK 4. If you're applying to study in Chinese, you need an HSK 4. That is the 4th level of at least 220 points. It depends on the school. Okay, and this doesn't include the government scholarship, because most of the times the government scholarship, as I said earlier, they give you an extra year to study the language before you start your major. And some, you just start your major in Chinese even without studying Chinese for even a single day and your major will be in Chinese. So just know that. And also what else, if you're going to be taking your major in English, you need to take you need to have, I think, like 6 points in the IELTS, 85 points in TOEFL, and the only time you would not need a language proficiency proof is when you're a native speaker of English. Also, when applying, you need a study plan. Yeah, you need to write out a study plan or a research plan, like explaining what you'll be doing the time you're studying, what you hope to do in the future. Are you going to stay in China? Are you leaving China? Whatever. You also need 2 recommendation letters from professors or from former or present teachers before applying. And also like when you get the scholarship or when you get admitted, you need to pay an application fees. Like this depends on the kind of scholarship If it's non-governmental scholarship, like if it's not CSE or Confucius, this one you have to pay application fees. Normally is from 400 yuan to 500 yuan. It depends on the school. Some schools don't have. After getting admitted, like if you get admitted, they are going to send you your visa form and your JW O2 blah 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 visa form and your admission letter, so that you go to the embassy and apply for a visa. Okay, so now we are going to get down to the various scholarships and their structures and their benefits and whatever. So we are going to start with the best scholarship, government scholarship. The government scholarship is like you are paid to study in China. They literally pay you to study. Like you don't spend anything. 5 francs, you don't spend anything, and they pay you to study in their country, and they give you everything. But it's not like it's for free. We know. Anyways, politics aside. Okay, so the government scholarship, to apply for this scholarship, mostly people apply from their country. So you don't have to be in China to apply for this scholarship, or you don't need any Chinese connection or anything to apply for this scholarship. You need to go to your embassy, I think, or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I've never been on a government scholarship, so I do not understand it fully, but there are different types of government scholarship. Like there's type A, type B, the one you apply back home, the one you apply in China. I've applied for the one in China, but I never got it. It's not easy to get a government scholarship because that is the best. Like that is just the best. So for the government scholarship, if you're bachelor's, they give you everything. Like if you're on a government scholarship, first of all, they pay your school fees. Your school fees gets paid for 4 or 5 years, depending on if you've learned Chinese or not. So if you've not learned Chinese, they give you an extra year to learn Chinese. So they'll be sponsoring your education for 5 years. And if you learn Chinese before 4 years, they'll be sponsoring your studies for 4 years. So your school fees is covered. Your accommodation, where you live, is covered. Your insurance, your health insurance is covered. Everything you need, they pay for it. Actually, everything that relates to school, your books and everything, they have to pay for it normally. And also each month they give you an amount of 2,500 for bachelors. You get 2,500. For masters, you get 3,000 yuan, and for doctorate, you get 3,500 yuan. That is for government scholarship. Have I forgotten anything? I don't think so. Okay, the next scholarship is Confucius scholarship. So I've been on Confucius scholarship, so I understand it better. To apply for the Confucius scholarship, you need to know Chinese before applying for it, and you need to have an HSK. The least HSK you need to have to apply for the Confucius scholarship is HSK 3. I don't know if it has changed, but I don't think so. But to be on the safer side, you should have HSK 4 with good grades. Don't forget, applying for all these scholarships, you need to have good grades. Okay, the higher the grades, the better. The higher the grade, the better. You need to be qualified, and also God's grades, because there are some people who are so qualified but they still don't get it. So for Confucius scholarship, you need to have at least HSK 3 with high notes, or HSK 4 with good notes. And for this one, you need to apply on their website, the Hanban website. Anyways, if you want to apply for these scholarships, you can contact me and I'll do it for you. Let me be your agent at cheaper prices. You get, let me just be Anyways, you need to go on the Hanban. If you don't know how to do it, you look for someone to do it for you, or you can contact me and I'll do it for you. Okay, so This scholarship is similar to the government scholarship. They pay your school fees, they pay your accommodation, in health insurance and everything, and also it's the same. Bachelor's, you get 2,500, masters you get 3,000. But Confucius scholarship is to promote Chinese, because it's from the Confucius Institute, and Confucius is like one of the great teachers of China, morals and values and stuff. So is for Chinese. So if you want to take Chinese as a major, you apply for the Confucius scholarship, because it's really the best scholarship when you want to study Chinese as a major. Or you can just study for 1 year. You can be on a Confucius scholarship just to study Chinese for a year. So there's something you should know, is that the years of studies in China are different from the ones in my country, Cameroon, or maybe other countries. In China, the bachelor's is 4 years, masters 3 years. That's a lot. So from bachelor's to masters, you have to spend 7 good years. So you should also know that it's not the same in other countries. And also I think that's all about the Confucius scholarship. Applying for the Confucius scholarship, you also need recommendation letters from professors, but to be on the safer side, you need to get a recommendation letter from a Confucius institute. So if you're in Cameroon, there are 2 Confucius or 3 Confucius institutes in Cameroon, one in Yaoundé, Yaoundé 2, one in Douala, and one in Mahua. So you should get a letter of recommendation from your Confucius Institute, and it will be easier for you than just a normal Chinese professor or a normal professor recommending you. So I think that will be all about the Confucius scholarship. The next scholarships we'll be talking about are not as good as the Confucius and the government scholarship. The Silk Road, Provincial, and President scholarship. So Silk Road scholarship is like countries on the Silk Road, like Suchochulu. Like the presidential scholarships are scholarships provided by the president of the university. That is the highest power of the university provides for this scholarship. Then we have the Provincial scholarship, which is the head of the province is the one providing for the scholarship. So normally these scholarships are partial. Yeah, they are not as good as the government scholarship and the Confucius scholarship. Normally these scholarships can be one, either full tuition, like your school fees gets covered, you get accommodation, and you get a little bit of allowance, like 500 kwai, 1,000 yuan, 1,500, and stuff like that. But sometimes in some schools that are really good schools, that your Silk Road presidential or provincial scholarship can be as good as the governmental scholarship. Like they actually give you 2,500 each month. And also we also have like full tuition, accommodation, and no allowance. We can also have partial tuition, no accommodation, no allowance, or sometimes you get the tuition, you get no accommodation, and you get some allowance. So it really depends on the school, and it really depends on the province and everything. So this scholarship is not the same everywhere. It depends on the school, because when you're applying for this, is the school actually decides, So these are the different scholarships you can apply for in China. So if you have good grades and you want to study abroad, if you want to study in China, all you need to have is like your plane ticket, yeah. And there's some there are people from some countries which like there are people from some countries that when they get the government scholarship, in their scholarship includes the plane ticket, like even that is taken care of. I think I've talked about everything already, and I hope I haven't forgotten anything. But if you have a question, kindly ask me in the comment section below. I could do a part 2 of this video explaining things further. So thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share to anyone who will be interested in studying in China for free. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.